I, 30 female, and my husband got married when we were 25 after 6 years of dating. He passed away in an accident 3 months ago. A few weeks before the accident, I discovered he had a one-night stand with a woman he works with. When he died, I hadn't decided yet what would happen in our relationship. We entered counseling and were still living together, but obviously it was hectic. As I wasn't sure if we would divorce, I decided not to tell our families and only confided in a few close friends and my therapist. I didn't want opinions from everyone. I also didn't want to tell his family when he died. There was no reason to. A few weeks ago, the affair partner reached out to me. She's 5 months pregnant and preparing to raise the baby. She wanted me to tell his family because she wants her child to have a relationship with his family and be connected to his culture. I said I wouldn't do this and passed along their contact information. The crap hit the fan. Now they're coming around to the idea of having a relationship with the baby, but I don't want to, nor has the mother offered, which is fine. The mother's gotten back in touch with me to ask for some of my husband's possessions. She wants his clothes, books, record collection, and bizarrely, his wedding ring, for the baby to feel connected to its father. I've made it very clear to her that I will be giving her nothing of the sort. Her parents and brothers have some of his stuff, and she can access things like that through them. She kept pushing, and I lost my temper and called her an outrageous witch who should find some shame. I wouldn't be opposed to passing some of the stuff along to the child via my in-laws when they're older and can appreciate it. Not the wedding ring, which was the worst request, in my opinion, but other sentimental stuff. I've also retained a lawyer to look into whether I owe the child any money legally from my husband's passing. If I don't, I may set up a trust fund for them when they're an adult with his money, because I really don't need it, and that seems fair. I just don't want to give this woman all I have left of my husband. I really don't trust her with any of it. Obviously, she thinks I'm a bitter, raging monster, witch, and an idiot, and my in-laws are divided. My in-laws are largely supportive, but some think I must give some of his stuff to her and the baby. Some of his brothers have told me they're sympathetic, but that I'm behaving like an idiot and a baby by not cooperating for the child's sake. I'm unsure whether the complicated grief is clouding my judgment. Edit. My in-laws are getting a paternity test when the baby's born. That was the first thing they asked. However, the scans and due date line up perfectly when the affair occurred, so I think it is likely true. So we're preparing for this. Not the idiot. If she wants to get the possessions of her partner after they die, she should consider getting married instead of being the other woman. There's nothing bitter about what you're doing. She just doesn't know how life or the law works. It's not your job to have a relationship with the child. And I also don't understand why you'd need to set up a trust fund for the baby. You're willing to do more than you need to. Also, what exactly does your husband have that a baby would even want? Goodness gracious, clutch my pearls. His wedding rings? $5, and my left toe says that's so she can spin the tale that they were married and he isn't an affair baby. She wants the dead guy's stuff so she can tell her kid, oh, your father and I were very happy, and this bitter woman got in the way of our relationship. Homewrecker's up to something, that's for sure. Those are my thoughts too. I wouldn't be surprised if she takes some of the pictures OP has with her husband and photoshops her head and then starts demanding the grandparents use those pictures instead. If she's demanding his wedding ring, I have no doubt she would do something like that. I mean, she has zero shame in her game, contacting the wife looking for sympathy, you know? My thinking is that it wasn't a one-night stand. Yep, I'm wondering if he knew about this child all along. I think the mistress wants to spin that tale for herself. He would have left her and married me if he'd lived, so I'm his real wife, delusion. OP, your deceased husband's side piece wants you to give her your husband's stuff? Oh, heck no. You're not obligated to give her a darn thing. Nor do you have monetary obligations toward her or the baby, since she was the side piece and not his wife. Block her and get a lawyer. Sorry for your loss, and for all the extra drama that comes with it. My wife's sister is getting married at some point and is working out the specific details. She and I get along fine, and our daughter, pre-tween, adores her and always asks to visit, and she's happily babysat when in a pinch. She recently dropped by and asked if we'd be all right with our daughter being her flower girl. We were both happy she asked, but I did have some concerns. Our daughter is low needs autistic, meaning she usually copes fine with most situations, but sometimes she needs extra help. One of the reasons I was concerned about the whole idea was because I knew it would involve 3 things that my daughter has difficulty with: being in fancy clothes, getting a lot of attention from a lot of people, performing a task while being watched. Either way, I didn't want to assume anything and said we'd talk to her about it. We did talk to her that day, and she had a lot of questions about it, which we answered. In the end, we showed her the video of my in-laws' wedding, where my wife was the flower girl, to give her an idea. At that point, I wasn't shocked when she said she didn't want to do it, but my wife brushed it off saying, "Oh, you'll be fine." So I pulled her aside to discuss. She said at this point, it'd be rude to make her sister find someone else, and besides, it's nothing to worry about. She even said that if she does cry, people will think it's funny and cute, and I might be the idiot for telling her that was a messed up thing to say. She even argued that this would be good exposure therapy for her, but she finally agreed when I wouldn't back down, provided I told my sister-in-law. I did, and she completely understood. She even felt guilty for asking when I explained why. Anyway, all was good. She had a backup from one of her fiance's cousins, so it was all fine. My wife thinks she was just being polite and is angry with me for causing drama by catering to a child. Am I the idiot for not making my daughter the flower girl at my sister-in-law's wedding? Not the idiot. I'm actually a bit concerned about your wife's treatment of your child. Just because she's young doesn't mean she cannot make her own choices. She's plenty old enough to know what she does and doesn't want to do, and forcing her to do something that even an adult may be uncomfortable doing is cruel. I'm glad you stood your ground on this one. Catering to a child? Finding it cute or funny that a child cries from being terrified? Also, exposure therapy? Heck no. Most of the time it would just be traumatic for the person. Dude, is your wife this obtuse and gross all the time? Watch that woman and start saving up for your daughter's therapy. I'm glad you stood up for your daughter. I'm shocked your sister-in-law has more empathy and understanding towards your daughter's needs than your own wife. Yeah, I think we need to reinforce to people that therapy is carried out by professionals. If you aren't an expert, all that will happen is that you'll worsen the situation. You don't try to carry out DIY heart surgery on your dog, so don't try DIY exposure therapy on your daughter. I know, right? I couldn't believe that was her mom's point of view. Not even sister-in-law. I had my young niece and nephew as a flower girl and boy, and I made it super clear to their parents that if they just weren't feeling it on the day, to not worry about it. Bring some clothes. You know they'll be okay in as backup, and they can do as much as they're up for. My nephew got a bit overwhelmed by the end of the day, more from the number of people than being a flower boy, and had lost most of his outfit, but hey, niece wore the outfit for 3 days straight. LOL. Mom is nuts for not having compassion and thinking it's funny for her to be overwhelmed. It seems a bit like mom really liked the idea of the daughter doing it, or being the kind of kid who liked doing it, putting her own wants, being the mom of the cute flower girl, over her daughter. I have 2 daughters in high school. Sam is an A student, and Emma's a B and C student. Sam has basically been making fun of Emma for her lower grades. We punish her when it happens, but she always goes back to it. Now the difference between the 2 girls is that Sam takes the general classes, whereas Emma takes the college classes. For example, Sam took biology as her science, and Emma took college physics too. So, very different. Summer's here, and the final grades have come in. Sam got all A's, and when she saw she did better, she started the "I'm smarter" comments again. I had enough at this point. I grabbed one of Emma's old tests. It was the geometry test since Sam took geometry this year, and I sat her down and had her do it. Long story short, she was in tears. And then I explained how grades don't measure your smartness, that she's in much easier classes compared to Emma. I think it finally got through to her. My wife was informed of what happened before she came home, and she was angry about how I could do that to Sam. While Emma and I were still at home, she took her to get ice cream to make up for it. Not the idiot. Sam needed a reality check. The reason Sam's grades are higher than Emma's is that Emma takes college-level classes. You do need to worry about the relationship your daughters will have in the future. I foresee Emma going no contact with Sam if this continues and/or escalates. So Sam doesn't deserve perspective, but it's okay to constantly attack Emma's intelligence? Tell me your wife has a golden child without telling me your wife has a golden child. Good on you for stopping the bullying behavior of the one daughter. Your wife, however, needs to improve her parenting skills. Okay, but for Sam to have started this, she felt inadequate compared to Emma. Your job now as a parent is to ask yourself why Sam felt inadequate compared to Emma, that the only solution her half-baked brain could come up with was to start knocking her down a peg, and address the source of the issue. Their relationship might recover this time, but resentment doesn't just go away. You didn't take away resentment in the way you corrected Sam. You might even have reinforced it by making her feel more of the very shame and inadequacy she already felt. It's likewise your job to prevent all those feelings from getting forwarded to Emma, especially the ones you just created. This feels like everyone's taking the easy way out of parenting these days instead of addressing what's really going on. You are the idiot. You need to do some serious introspection about the dynamic of competition you've established and fostered between your children. Stop making it worse and empower each child to recognize their strengths. Update: for those wondering, we have talked to her multiple times, and we've tried to get to the bottom of it. Her answer is she doesn't think it's a big deal. I took Emma to her favorite restaurant and filled my wife in with what happened, not Sam's story. We're going to have a big talk later, but she basically said in the text she messed up. Not to mention when Sam was calmer, my wife got a clearer story and realized she went off the handle without the facts. I had a birthday a few months ago, and I told my girlfriend to not get me anything. I didn't want or need anything, that this wasn't a secret challenge to find something I would like. I genuinely didn't want any gifts. Of course, she gets me some gifts, and I hate them. She gave me junk and a responsibility, two things I don't want more of in my life. She got me this crappy little plastic egg cooker thing. She knows I make hard-boiled eggs in the pressure cooker, and I've expressed before that they come out perfect every time and that I love it, so I don't need some piece of junk as seen on TV replacement. She also got me a small cactus, which I see as nothing more than a responsibility I don't want. I know cacti are pretty low maintenance, but I just don't care for them, and I have nowhere to put it. And I have a cat who likes to rub on things and push them over. It was a mess waiting to happen, which caused anxiety in me, and the only place to put it was in this one window in my tiny apartment where the curtain's always drawn, so it's not like I ever see the thing. So I threw it all away. After a few months, these things sit unused and unenjoyed, just being useless clutter and waste of money. And now she's mad and has been very distant lately. She said that it was the thought that counted, but I told her that it didn't seem like any thought was put into these gifts. I realize I'm hard to shop for, so I expressly don't want anyone getting anything for me. I'm very picky. You are the idiot. It is the thought that counts. Your whole attitude about this is so cold. She tried to find things that applied to your life. Yes, she missed, but you don't even appreciate the time she spent thinking about you. Some people express their love with gifts. She wanted you to know she thought of you. With the cactus, you could have sat her down and told her you appreciated the gesture, explained the cat issue, and asked if she'd keep it for you at her place, or if she'd be okay if you passed it to a friend, etc. OP could have even re-gifted them versus throwing them out. Explains he gave them to somebody who would appreciate them. It probably would have still hurt, but better than just him tossing the stuff in the trash. Instead, throwing them away, along with the wording used here, gives me the impression there was anger in the disposal of these gifts. It wasn't, "She tried, but these aren't right for me. Someone else would appreciate them more." It's, "This is garbage. How dare she buy me garbage? I'm putting it where it belongs. I would not buy him one single thing ever again." I'm sure a comparison between OP and the cactus could be made. LOL. Yeah, too bad he threw away his spirit plant. Chill, dude. She just wanted to make you a bit happier. You could have later told her gently, after accepting the gifts, that you appreciated it, but she really didn't have to. Or you could have helped her out by sending her a wish list prior to your birthday. You're not only a hard person to shop for, you generally seem hard to be around. Honestly, not the idiot. You told her you didn't want a gift, and she still got you one. Obviously, this is an issue for you, and your girlfriend should know you well enough to know that when you say you don't want anything, you really mean it. It seems she wants to make herself feel good about getting you something, while ignoring that it doesn't make you feel good. And what's the point of a gift if it makes the other person feel bad? A nice gesture is only nice if the receiver appreciates it. I, 35 female, and my husband, 32, have been trying to have a kid for 5 years, and I recently found out I was pregnant. So far, I'm 25 weeks. My cravings recently kicked in, and the only thing I want is literally Hawaiian pizza. Today I was craving it all day, so I got one from Papa John, and I also got some breadsticks. I had 3 slices and then decided to take a nap. I woke up at 7:50, and I wanted to get another slice and some breadsticks. When I did, there was none left. I was reasonably upset, as I'd been craving it. I then asked my husband and sister-in-law which one of them ate my pizza. Sister-in-law admitted that she had eaten it and that she was hungry and pretty tired from work. Sister-in-law goes to work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I screamed at my sister-in-law and told her to replace it immediately. Sister-in-law refused and said that I was acting ridiculous. I started crying, and my husband calmed me down and ordered me a pizza. My sister-in-law thinks I'm an idiot. So, am I? Edit. My sister-in-law has done this before, where I've gotten food and have made it crystal clear that it's for me, and she still hates that this has gone on, even before I got pregnant. We're allowing sister-in-law to stay here until she can move into her own apartment, but I'm so fed up. Not the idiot. She ate the rest of your food without asking you? That's rude as heck. She ate over half a pizza that wasn't hers, and she didn't even leave any, and then refused to get you another. Utterly ridiculous. My husband would have prepared sister-in-law's grave if he had been in this situation. Everyone's the idiot here. It was rude of her to eat your food, but your reaction was just inappropriate. There are a few situations where screaming is an appropriate response for an adult. Pregnancy, hormones, yada yada, I get it. But it's still not an excuse to act a fool. You're going to be a mother. Grow up. Apparently they're doing a favor for Sis and letting her stay with them, and Sis has repaid them by taking the food in the past that wasn't hers. If someone I'm allowing to live in my home until they can move out decides to eat 2/3 of my food plus breadsticks without deciding to pay me back, especially if they've done this before, I'm yelling. This is not a situation where sister-in-law comes and eats one slice. She ate the entire pizza and breadsticks and didn't offer to pay it back or replace it. I don't know where you're from. That's incredibly messed up and completely lacking in etiquette.